I wanted to be a multimillionaire.
I want to be the judge of how successful or unsuccessful I'm going to be.
Take control of your life.
I mean, the hustle was still in me.
They can start moving. You got to touch something. Nah, but this is Mr. Emanuel Jackson.
Yes, sir.
So this is different than my normal interviews. I'm gonna tell you why. So normally, someone would say, "Hey, I would like to learn more about this brother," or somebody would tell me, "Hey, you ever thought about interviewing this person?" Or I do the research myself, and I said, "Oh, this brother moving different." This was a little different because I didn't really know. I didn't know a lot about you. Mm-hmm. We have a mutual friend, D, and I know if D said it, it gotta be official. Daniel Tuzan,
yes, sir.
Danny Boy Zoe, for the ones that know.
Yeah.
A different character, but solid man. So I know when a solid man tell me about another solid man, it's time for me to pay attention.
Right.
But I'm gonna learn a lot more about you in this process, because one thing I didn't do with this, I didn't go in depth with research because I wanted to meet the man.
Right.
He told me, of course, the work that you're doing in the community.
Yeah.
Your the authenticity. That's all I needed to hear.
Okay.
So I want to start. So great to meet you, my brother. I want to get started from the beginning, man. Mm-hmm. Which we met before this, so I don't want to act like it's our first time meeting. I want to get started from the beginning. Born and raised where?
Mostly Delray.
Okay.
Thought I put it on side. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man.
People got it early. Was on silent. So I was born and raised in Delray Beach, Florida.
Okay.
So my mom and dad, I never stayed in a two-parent household. So they were never together. Mm-hmm. I remember second grade, I had moved up to Jacksonville. My dad did a school year there. Came back. Now I'm back with my mom. Now I moved back with my dad to North Florida, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. And at Christmas break, 8th grade, I came back to South Florida. So
why the back and forth?
From in hindsight now, being grown and kind of getting understanding, like my mom, I had a sweet mom, loving mom, caring mom, but she ain't had no discipline. But she always wanted what's best for me. And I was her baby. I was the youngest. And my dad was the opposite. He was disciplined. So she always wanted me with him as much as possible, So as he was moving, whenever he would figure things out, get settled, he would always send for me. Or that's how it was. So, and as I got older, I tried to run away from that discipline, that structure as much as possible. I always be like, man, I want to go back to my mom, stuff like that.
Of course.
So that's what it was. Yeah, she was always trying to push me down.
And growing up, and give me a little bit more detail about what was the difference in those homes.
Yeah, man, I love to jump into that. So it go down to really. So my mom household in Delray Beach, to put it nicely, man, the 80s hit my family bad. Like when the crack and all the drugs and everything came. Because before then, I hear stories, obviously, like the generation before my parents, my great uncles and grandmas, they owned stores, they had businesses, they were kind of stable. But like my mom, her siblings, like a lot of them was sprung out on crack. Like I grew up, my mom was a hustler. Like my mom was the lady who whatever you need, you got. Like from dope to doing hair to selling food. Like my mom was a certified hustler, and I got to see everything firsthand. So I grew up fast, bro. Like Lil Dupree and Delray, I knew a lot more than I probably needed to know at an age. But I was mature because I know how to deal with certain information. I knew when people come and they sit in my mom den, they hanging out doing their little grown folks parties. I got enough sense to know if such and such person is respected in the community. They ain't really supposed to be there at this hour doing that type of stuff, but I don't go tell it. Such and such is at my house. Like I learned game quick. And I knew that too, because when I used to go around my dad up in the country, North Florida, I got an uncle, man. He's something else, my Uncle Joe. He would always say, hey, man, let me hold some. I know you down there selling them drugs and doing all this stuff. Like, I'm telling him, I'm like 10, 11, 12, he used to be telling me stuff like this.
I like Uncle Joe.
You get what I'm saying? But he knew without like blunt what my mama then was doing. Like
You know what's going down.
he know what's going on. So I always be surprised, like, why you talking to me like that? No, I'm just going to school, or but it ended up one of the times later in life he asked me that question, he was dead right. I had to move to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
But it's crazy. I want to ask you one thing in that same conversation. Like,
Yeah.
what made you already have the sense to protect your mom image in that process?
oh man, you know what I came. That's a great question. I guess intuition. Like you know better. Like you could tell how she moved, and mind you also, like I'm not totally naive. By the time I was 8 or 9, my house had already been busted twice. So I done seen our police running there with the jump out units. Like I don't know, go run, hide that, and all this. Like I know that. I know what time it is.
So you knew what time it was. So
Yeah.
make the
Right. And I know this how my mom made her living. I knew she was a hustler. I knew she was likable. And I know when they go in there and they doing a adult thing, I know that's exactly what it was. So stay in my place. And
So you more free at your mom's house, but when you go to your father's house, how was that? Other than Uncle Joe.
man, listen, all of them, they was raised the same, man. I'm telling you, like dirt roads, country, like we early on grew up with farms. I had to like feed the dogs, the cow, the hogs, the goats, the animals. Like
What part of Florida? Like
this is Sneeze, Jackson County. Like I just came from there 2 nights ago. I
Wow.
bring the New Year's in there because I try to get back to that, just real slow, calm, But yeah, it's Jackson County, man. Dirt road. So summers I was picking peas, tossing watermelons, doing old school stuff. That's how I grew up, bro.
So you did both. So you went from Delray, different lifestyle,
Right.
to Sneed, Florida. I never
Sneed.
even heard of it.
So it's a little okay. So my dad, he's from Sneeze, Florida. His whole family, my granddad and all them. So at first, when I moved my dad, he left Sneeze when he was like 17, 18. Everybody they wait till they get of age to leave.
Take it out, get up out of there.
So he had been long gone. The first time I moved my dad, he was with they were never married, with his girlfriend at the time, my stepmom. They were in Jacksonville. So that's the first time I moved, and we were in Jacksonville. And we used to go from Jacksonville, go visit Jackson County. My granddad was still living then, and I would get glimpses of it. So I would spend weekends there, waking up, seeing the animals, living off the land, that type of stuff. But I wasn't living there. So I would go home to Jacksonville and be back in the city. Mm-hmm. But that changed when I moved back after second grade, moved back to Delray. My dad was out of my life for a couple of years, and he came back when I was in 10th, 5th grade, and I moved back with him. This time, we were in Sneed. So now I'm in the country. Now I'm living there, not visiting. So that's what it changed. Yeah.
So, but growing up in Delray, what was the experience like back then?
Man, a lot of kind of what I explained. Now with the work I do, I see that I was in what you call like the vulnerable neighborhood, the ghetto or Section 8. But growing up, bro, I was spoiled. My mom loved me. She let me do what I want. We had money when it was time to go on field trips or go to dances at Pompeii and do all those things. I can go, or here you got this, or if the latest shoe came out, I had it. I was okay. I was good, But again, like I was always very, very aware and observant. The story, when I talk to you, brother, like my oldest brother, from the time he was 15, 16, I was always going with my mom to court for him, for his little jail stuff. I was there when he got sentenced for his long bid. When he was 16, he was sentenced to like 15 years, so he ended up doing 11 of those years. So he got out when he was 27. During that same time, even before my brother went, 2 of my uncles, the last time I had met them, I was under a year old, both of them. So our relationship, whole time till I was like 12, 13, was raised talking to them on the phone. 2 of my uncles, like they did, one did 16 and one did 20 years, like prison bids. So that's kind of how my childhood was growing up. And I remember at one point always thinking like, it'll eventually be my time. I had visited so many prisons in Florida, like that was.
So that was an option for you?
No, that was not the option. That was the path. Like what other option, right? I'm naming all the men in my family. And
so we supposed to go to jail.
Yeah, and I had to unlearn that and unbelieve that,
So that's what I remember. Not just D, a couple other friends that I have really believed they were never gonna live past 18.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment they live past 18, you're like, shit, I'm up.
There you go. Yeah.
Now we could really turn up now because I live past 18.
That's it.
But that whole culture and that whole, when your brother went in, because that's someone that's closer to you.
Yeah.
How was that? How did that affect your house? How did that affect you?
Well, it had a big effect on me because even to this day, I had a couple moments. I had little stints of having a brother. But I always looked up to him. Obviously, he was cool. He was popular, handsome, had the girls. But he was just hot-tempered, and the things that he was attracted to, like stealing cars or having guns and all that, you're not going to be free if those are your hobbies, if that's your interest.
Those are a little different hobbies.
But I looked up to him, so those became things I wanted to be good at in my hobbies too. You know what I mean? I remember, and friends of mine tell you stories, like I was always the kid when we was young, like when they got time, like say shoot out at block party and stuff, and like, okay, they running, our crew ain't running. Y'all know I'm straight. Certain stuff.
I've heard of those type of lifestyles.
It's just natural to me, and it came because it was always right there in the household. I didn't know anything different. So really, bro, I do a lot of talking now about trying to improve life outcomes, but I was happy growing up until I got to a point I realized, man, there's so much more to life, and I shouldn't have had to think like that. I shouldn't have to put myself in the box. Man, prison ain't the only option. There's other ways.
But even before you got there, though, like, growing up in a city like Delray, with like huge legacies like the Spady family, things that I hear, I don't really know. Yeah. These names, were there any inspiration from those people also, or that didn't come until later on?
I can't. The inspiration came later on, but as I remember, those names aren't the people that sparked it in me. It was like Mr. Dennis Murray. He's a long-time lifeguard at Pompey Pool. He was there. Like him, people who
was in the mud with you.
In the mud, like not just me, all the kids. You see, kind of. I think back, I get chills because the same thing I'm doing now, he did. Like he saw us each in he saw himself in each one of us. So like I was a little knucklehead boy. Like he knew he knew the grown stuff. He knew what my mama did, but he was like, well, if Mary's son can be here all these times, be one of my junior lifeguards. I'm gonna teach you how to swim. You treat me like I got a real job. Like I'm important. I got a whistle. I'm sitting up there. Somebody drown.
That whistle did it for you, huh?
Yeah, bro. He gave me something to
look forward to. Other than prison.
Yeah, he did that for a lot of us. So Dennis Murray, Miss Carter, she was another one. We got to middle school. I was at Omni. That was rough back then. But she was one of the ones grab you by the ear. We're not playing. You can do what you want after 2 hours, but we got to school. You're gonna be here for 2 hours. Do the homework. Yeah, I needed that. Cause my mama ain't care. You know what I'm saying?
That discipline.
I needed that. So those are people. So Spady, Pompey, they were always there. Those names rung, but I wasn't directly affected by those. That's before my time.
So the local, the guys that you could look up to, that could relate to you and give you some game in that process, or like I said, in the mud, they're just different. Yeah. The big names are and there's no shot at them. It's just I get what you're saying right away. Like the people that really affected you was the people that was actually involved, hands on, in that era in the community. Is there any activities that you guys knew that was already set up? Like in the community, like did you play sports? Did you play, was there any other activities other than sports also that stood out?
Yeah, so, man, bro, it's spot on. I love talking to you already, man, because I remember, so I was always overweight, so I never, ever suited up and played for Delray Rocks. But I remember one time I convinced my mom to take me out there to sign me up. And I never forget walking in there to Pompey. It was Coach Bean. He was like, oh, this is the first time he never played. They were talking like, no, but he want to play. I want to get him out here, but I don't want to waste my money, stuff like that. And she's like, well, okay, we'll let him come out here and practice, see how he do with like running and, the discipline part, and I'll let you know if it's for him or not. Again, like how I say, I'm grown now. I realized I never got, after that couple of days I was out there, I never went and signed me up. He must have told my mama, oh, he ain't with it. You know what I'm saying? So I never played Delray Rocks, but when fifth grade, when I moved up, with my dad, I played Little League up there, so I played for Sneed's Pirates.
So it's crazy. So did your father give you an option to play sports?
I had to do something, and so it wasn't like I wanted to play sports here with my mom, but the coach told him something else. I was convincing my mom. I made my mom get up and go to Pompey. Right. So the same thing with my dad. Naturally, I was like, Dad, I want to play ball and everything, But it was more important for me because the alternative with my mom was to chill at the house, sit on the couch, and just eat. The alternative with my dad, where you gonna be out here helping work on his car, cutting his grass, organizing his store. You always gonna be working doing something. So I couldn't wait to find something to do. That was I was more motivated to go harder with sports.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So with mom, you can stay home and chill.
I could stay home and chill.
But at dad,
that
watermelon looking for you.
Something.
Something.
You feel me?
I need you to mop
no
the
such
street.
thing as no wake up Saturday morning, watch a cartoon. We got chores. We got something to do.
Yeah. How was teenage years for you?
Teenage years was I when I look back, I say fun, bro, because I was, again, I had enough time spent with both households, so a lot of the lessons and stuff my dad was trying to teach me, I was kind of getting. I respected him and loved him enough that even when I was back down here in my teenage years with my mom, I wasn't doing straight up knucklehead stuff. I would think about my daddy.
Right.
And I would think about the Jackson name. Even though the Jacksons aren't in Delray, it means something to us. But Jackson County, were the Jacksons, you know, that's in me now. So I carry myself a little different when I was back down here in Delray. So
the Jackson and Sneed, what's the
Sneed.
Sneed.
So it's SNEADS, Sneeds.
Sneed County.
Sneeds, Florida is the city.
Sneed,
in
Florida.
Jackson County.
I've never heard
good,
of it.
bro.
I'm working through
Nobody
it.
never heard of this. So.
But then the Jacksons and Delray, they were some of the same family, or
no? So in Delray, my mom, her family, they're the Woods, WODS, like Tiger Woods, the Woods here. The Jackson, which I am, is from Sneeds, from Jackson County, from Sneeds, Florida. That's my dad. So there's no Jacksons down here.
It's a huge, but you have a huge family up there.
Correct.
So I want to say, so how teenage years, how was that experience? Because the crack epidemic is slowing down. A lot of people messed up or getting cleaned up.
Yeah.
Well, did that era, high school years and all, did it start? Did you want the streets more? Did you want to, straighten up more? Like, what was that for you?
Yeah. So I've always, it's two type of people. And if I get off, I want you to come back to that question. But it's important for me to say that, like, there's people who, I tell you my stories, grew up seeing the damage that, like, crack, drugs, and just street life do to people. Like, talking to my uncles through the phone, seeing my uncles, knowing the different look in their eye, how they carry themselves. They could be well-respected, strong, disciplined person, but they hit that crack, they be weak, no pride, don't care how they carry themselves. It just, I saw that and I never wanted that. Other people see it and be like, I can't wait to experience it or try it. Experiment.
I get it.
Like, I never wanted to be a crackhead. I never wanted, you get what I'm saying?
I get it.
So, teenage years, I tried to run from what I thought was eventually I'm gonna be in prison. All this stuff in the back of my head, I tried to run from it. So that's why I never smoked during middle school. I wasn't hustling because I don't gotta pretend to hustle. Like, my mama hustle and she give me money. Yeah. So why am I here trying to pretend?
Right. You already had the wisdom of that already.
Right. While I was looking at people pretend to try to be hood, I was doing the opposite because I literally was the kid. Like, my best friends never could stay night in my house because they knew my house. They knew where to go down there. Like, people, I could stay night at friends' house because they loved me as a kid. But I'm sorry, my best friend Cedric, Cedric can't stay at your house. The grandma used to tell me all the time.
Because I know what time it is.
No, everybody did. Everybody know what's going on at Big Mary house. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I was always trying to search for more and not try to be that.
But where would you get that more from?
Spending more time with, listening to Miss Carter. Okay, I can come to you'll let me come to your center after school. My mom ain't got to sign me up. I want to be there. You get what I'm saying? Like, Mr. Dennis, I can be your junior lifeguard. I don't need to get paid. You gonna give me a job, give me a whistle? I want to be there.
A whistle's important.
You get what I'm saying? Like, give me something. And I remember 9th grade year, I got hurt doing football, so I ain't finished that season. But the second that my sophomore year, I was ineligible. And there was a guy, we called him Pony Boy, real name Darren Haywood, at Pompey Park. He was starting a flag football league for little kids. He's like, man, you here every day, why you ain't playing football? And I remember I told him a lie for 2 straight weeks. And then he finally said, man, I already talked to the people, bro, you ain't got the grades. I was like, man, I was ashamed to tell you. He's like, that's all right. You out here every day, get one of these teams. So I became a coach of a little league flag football team. So 5, 6, 7-year-olds. But I remember the pride I had in that, bro. I remember when he got the T-shirts made for us. And I could pick my team logo, which was the Jaguars, because that was my favorite team, And I remember getting little kids, they numbers, they was like, coach, they couldn't, if I was late, they sitting there waiting for me to get up while the other kids practice. And I remember how bad I felt being late because they were kids ready to practice. Man, that experience made me such a good player when I got eligible, made me more coachable, made me appreciate what, you know what I'm saying? Like just having people that believe in the jet like me and say, you know what, man, you need to be doing something. Come coach this team. And so, yeah.
I see something that's consistent with you. Like I said, it's like we're having a full conversation for the first time. But if I was talking with you just like out of this place, I would see that the level of pride that you have, like the level of consistency of the whistle was so important for you to represent. It wasn't even about the paper. It wasn't even about your job. You just had to, you wanted to do better, but you also were part of something.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing was that flag football when you said, listen, I'm a coach now?
Yeah, right.
I'm taking this coach thing
That's
serious.
Right. That's right.
So like, where do you get that from? Where do you get that instinct? Where do you get that, I'm riding for this?
So I would guess two parts. Obviously, my parents are close. So the heart, the caring and want to do right by people, 100% my mom. My mom just got a big heart, bro. A lot of times people took advantage of her, so I was extra defensive of my mom. But my dad, he's fair, but he's stern as hell. He just doesn't play the radio. If it's black and white, he's gonna go by the rule book and can't bend it. You give somebody your word, like when you see a man, you look him in the eye. If you wrong,
balance.
you get on. So I'll tell you an example. Like before I used to get whoopings from my dad, we'd have a conversation about it. And I had to look him in. So you know those moments, bro.
Man, I
like,
just need the whipping, man. So
You
I
know,
gotta
like-
look at you and talk.
why? Boy, look at me. And then you gotta tell the
Because
truth.
you
or it's gonna be
you
worse.
know your life about to be over. So you
Your life
gotta
gonna be over. But imagine swallowing that, saying, if you tell me the truth, it's gonna be worse if you don't tell me the truth. Then you gotta swallow the man you're most scared of and tell the truth. That's why I learned. Wow, the integrity that stuff I got now, people say, like, how you? Well, I had to look at the person I was most scared of in my life and had to, right before he to tear me up and be real.
Keep it
Ain't nothing
100,
outside of that more scarier. So
That's real.
nothing scares me in this world. So of course I'm honest and real. Because y'all
Right.
can't do what my daddy did. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. You okay with these consequences?
That's right.
Your little consequences is nothing compared
It's
to
nothing.
what my father used to do.
Right.
So did you end up going to college and all those things also? Or?
I did. So when I played football freshman year at Boca High, the next year I was ineligible. That my junior year I was still ineligible. I got kicked out of summer school it was my fault. I did something totally stupid, but I missed the 2.0. I had like a 1.8 or something. I barely missed it. But at the time they were just starting something, calling like you could sign a contract. I don't know if you were down here.
No, I was up north when I played.
No, so you can sign like an academic contract. But the problem is I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was always an academic. I lived there.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was one of them.
See what I'm saying? I just saw this opportunity. I was like, okay, this is junior year. And mind you, at this time, I'm not thinking about college now. I just want to play football. So I moved back with my dad because Boca High, I couldn't do it at Boca High, but I could sign a contract at Sneeds High School. So I moved, my junior year, I moved back to Sneeds, only played like 3 games there because I realized I had grew up and changed so much. The dynamic with my dad was just different. Like I appreciated like who he was, but he was just too strict and he wouldn't let a kid be a kid, man. You know what I mean?
But do you think he also knew what was going on in Delray?
He did, but like I gave that up and moved to Sneeze with you. So like I'm here with you.
But I think for me, how crazy I'm over here defending your father. Like
I hear you.
But it's just like I think the way I'm just looking at me as a man. If I knew that's what you're from, if I knew that was your core at one point. So when you come to me, I still got to make sure I keep you that balance. So it's just like we're not playing the race, like, and he stick to the script. He knows exactly who he is, exactly what he does.
Right.
He's not. I don't play with you.
That's right.
So I'm sorry. I think I just like for me, I just have a relationship with my father now where I could call him by his first name and joke around with him like some joking thing, but we don't play. Like I remember it's craziest thing my father ever told me. That man told me one day, men don't smile that much. Men don't just be laughing like that. I was like, what are you? Because every time I see you with your friends, you having a hell of a time. But he was like, nah, men don't be out here playing like this. So I really believe that. I'm like, I'm supposed to be strict. And then I'm not even supposed to be laughing because men, and I see that man laughing, cracking so much joke nowadays. I'm like, man, this man tried me all this time.
Yeah.
But he stuck to the script. It was no bending. It was no.
Yeah.
And he lived off that principle, like all action have consequences.
Yeah.
So this day,
Yeah.
I got moved like that. And the thing is, once a man's able to accept his consequences, do what you do.
That's right.
That's
right.
you're gonna have to eat that.
That's right.
So that's a different culture.
You got to pin that too, because those lessons I learned helped me later when I was in the street too. Because for the same thing, I was always mindful, conscious of what I was doing and the consequences that come with it. If I wasn't willing to accept the consequences, I switched gears real fast.
Yeah,
and I've done that in real time, in real life.
Yeah, like I see dudes, from being outside, that they get into some trouble. Now you confused. You knew you had that pistol in your hand.
That's real.
You knew once you let off what was going to happen.
That's real.
It was going to hit him.
Yeah.
And he's going to die.
That's right.
You get away, you don't.
That's
when you get caught, you're going to have to eat that, my boy.
That's right.
So, and I think for me, that's how any kids that I mentor, any students that I ever work with, man, I used to always tell them, listen, these streets ain't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I've been out here before. I mastered it. That's how good I was. I was a whole artist out here in these streets.
Agree.
But I also knew them consequences.
Yep.
So I knew the crazier I got, the crazier they're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of dudes, like you said, they don't understand that process.
Yeah.
I'm going to hustle, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. You're going to get some money or you're going to have to eat these consequences. Yeah. So when you came back to Sneed,
mm-hmm.
Florida, high school, then the college transition, did you, was that well, first of all, because that's crazy. So you have the history of all these uncles and what made you even want to go into college?
Positive peer pressure.
Okay, explain that. Positive
peer pressure, bro. Coming back, Boca High, junior year high school, working. Now I'm doing from after Christmas break, my junior year, all the way till I graduated. I did regular school, then I did credit lab after school to catch up, to make sure my grades was on point. And in high school, there was this thing, like if you get recruited, if you're an athlete, like
high school in Sneed.
High school, now I'm back in Boca High. Now I'm back here. So now I'm down here and I often like guys like Everson Bernard, Eugene French, Jimmy Sutton III, my homeboy, Junior Alfonso, like all these guys, we used to be having like lunch, a coach would come in there and be like, hey, you guys got these letters. These coaches want to talk to you or invite you to this camp. You getting recruited. That's positive peer pressure. I'm sitting here like, damn, I want a letter. Damn, this summer, y'all going to Ohio to the Ohio State camp? Coach, can I go? Like, dude, you don't have grades. Like, we're going there it's not a fun trip. We're going to display our kids. Work out. You get your grades right, we'd love to take you. You got good size, you're athletic. You get what I'm saying? Like, damn, where I want to go. So I'm for the focus so I can go on some of these trips. So the
people you were around were moving in a direction.
That's right.
And it looked
felt like I was missing out on something. They'll come back, talk about visits, trips, how much they ate at hotels. Damn, I want that.
I needed that.
So it wasn't even the school, it was just, I wanted that. I wanted to get recruited too.
What was the process of working on to get those things?
It was harder for me because I had a lot of making up to do because I didn't take education serious. So it was really hard. I had to spend a lot of time studying credit lab. I ain't had days to myself. But my senior year, I caught up enough to be eligible to play and put enough film, get enough film, play enough football to have film, but my grades were still bad. So I had to go a long route. I did get a couple of those camp letters, so I reached that one goal, but I never got offers because my grades were poor and I only had 1 year of good film. So small schools, D3, I don't know if they had NAIA yet, but junior colleges started blowing me up. And I don't know how, but it's just one that found me. It was called Hibbing Community College, northern Minnesota, like close to the border of Canada. Right, bro, right.
From Delray to Sneed to Minnesota.
To Minnesota. And I remember getting that letter and them telling me, don't think about it. You're good enough right now. We already looked at your grades. We looked at if you come here, you can work, you can get a scholarship. We want you and they talked to me how I saw my friend studs getting talked to. Like, you're the guy. I was like, oh, okay. How small the school is, whatever, they want me and they think I can help their program. And
was it like the feeling of being valuable?
Yeah. I'm talking to you, bro. It's like that, but going back to that same feeling like when on Pony
Hold
Boy.
on. I want you to say that again because I'm like a therapist now.
Yeah, for real.
Because I'm about to bill you by the time we leave out of here. I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I'm gonna have to give you my sharing then. So take the deductible. But real talk, like that same feeling Mr. Murray gave me with the whistle, same feeling Ponyboy gave me, let me be the head coach. It was something again, like you're needed, you're valuable. So like that's basically what you're saying. Like we want you.
You know, I think that's so crazy, man. And I'm saying that because I remember when I was a young boy, when I was in the streets, what I thought I was valuable to, I was good at. I thought I was valuable to these streets.
Yeah.
So I did everything I was supposed to do to master these streets. Like I was a professional street dude because I thought I was valuable to that. But the moment I realized I was valuable to other things, I started being. I think that's like a secret. I just figured out in my mind. I think it's probably been out, of course.
Yeah.
I truly believe if you're able to give black boys, minority boys overall. I could only speak to black boys, just men overall. I think if you start letting these boys know that they're valuable early, that direction could shift.
Yeah.
I think that's what a man yearns for. You know,
Yes,
like,
sir.
am I valuable?
Yes,
you know, that's so. Go ahead, man.
11 years
that was
ago.
just like a little thing that just hit me.
It's not little because it's huge. Like the whole premise of everything I wear on my chest and my hat, the brand that what makes me a professional and respected in this county now was rooted in that. Like before it became, we had a name EJS and all that. I had a slogan, and I still got the sketch. I keep all my notes and stuff. And that was one of my things. I said when I start my organization, I didn't even know it was gonna be EJS then. Our slogan gonna be I promise you have value, because that's the trick. Once you can convince people and get people to a point where they, especially youth, to realize they have value, it's easier to guide them to things that would benefit them or they know would benefit their part. Because that's my whole thing. We can't be coming here telling kids to get out of the corner or do something different if you don't provide alternatives. So you got to have a different alternative. Okay, you don't want me on the block hustling, then what? All right? If you don't want me after school walking downtown, breaking into cars or going to get purses, then what after school doing these hours? What's the alternative? And that was my whole thinking. Is like kids are going to be kids. Kids are going to be product of their environment until you give them the tools to produce something else. That's it.
So let's go into your organization because that's another part. You know, I got a chance to learn who you are as a man, but I want to learn more about what do you do and how you do it. So what does EJS stand for? EJS Project stand for, and what is it that you do in that?
Okay, so EJS Project is Emanuel Jackson Sr., my dad, the man. We talked about him earlier.
Heavy.
That's that. I remember early 2099. You remember the What Would Jesus Do bracelets and bands? You don't remember like WWW, like what would Jesus do? It was like pop. My thing was always what would my dad do? Like even when he wasn't there, he was that chip on that shoulder. Like, man, boy, hold up. Jacksons don't.
Watermelons really work, man. I love that, man.
You hear me? Like, so I was all like, what would my dad do? So he passed unexpectedly 2011. At that time, brother, I felt personally, that's when me and Danny boy Zoe was going heavy. It was that period.
You guys were outside a little bit.
It was outside a little bit. And when he passed, bro, I felt really ashamed. I was like, damn, man, that man was so great. I said all these good things about him, invested so much in me. He gave me all these skills. He gave me all this knowledge, this wisdom, these morals, this confidence, this character. And I'm just shitting it away. I ain't doing nothing. I'm underproducing. I'm doing the same thing my uncles, my brothers doing. I'm just sitting here trapping, selling. Man, you ain't doing nothing. You get on. That's how I'm talking to myself. And at the same time, I was bringing my daughter. My dad passed. She was like 6, 7 months old. So I'm a new father. And I'm looking at this world. I'm like, bro,
it's not adding up.
This ain't adding up, bro. Like, what are you gonna stand on when it's time to do, daddy, daughter, or whatever dances or bring your dad to school day? Then what your daughter gonna say about you? I'm thinking about this back then, bro. So this shit heavy on my mind. So I wanted to do something that would two things. It would help like cement a legacy, prove my father right if I invested in me, telling me I could do everything and give me the tools to do it. I wanted to do something I can make a career off of at this point, and I have to be 100% legit and never have to dip my toe and back into another side of life ever again. I wanted to build something that my daughter can be proud of and say, like, that's my dad, right? So all those elements came at the same time, right? 2011. And
one thing I want to add to it,
Yeah.
you also wanted to build another whistle.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna start taking that.
Yeah, don't
real.
worry, I charge for that.
That's
But that's the second thing.
Yeah,
This
long
bill.
when I leave.
Oh, don't
here.
worry, my team, they're invoicing back there ready. They already know what time it is. No, but I think for me, what I got from that, we're talking about value, and I think once a man know what he's, you know, what he could produce and what he could bring value to, he doubles down on.
That's
So,
it.
and I'm listening to the consistency in your story, and what I keep on learning is that whistle brought value. You started activating differently. Everything it just shows that pattern in it. So now once you got this, you wanted to do this. You wanted to, of course, the identity is super important for you. Yeah. That's one thing I got. Your family, your legacy, your father's standard now is in you now. Yeah. He passed away, so now you felt the responsibility. You got to carry that.
That's right. That's right.
Now it gets into you want to do something different for your daughter. And what was that process of starting it? Like, what was even?
Yeah. So I remember the journey being. I want to give credit to, because it's one of the lessons, one of the tools I have. The tool is not tangible, but to me it's tangible, which is your circle, who you keep around, who you talk to the most.
That's relationship. That's super tangible.
Yeah, man.
That's the one.
That's it. That's it. So that I had the benefit of having some other solid brothers in my city, and it was like 6 of us. We started something called Delray Beach Sports Exhibitors, right? And everything I say after this part, I say with 100% like respect and humility. It's not to judge us for trying to figure it out being young men, but just say like we didn't have shit all the way put together, but it was the best 2-3 years life lessons we could possibly do. So first of all, it took a great leader, which my boy Doug Parker is. Like he kind of spearheaded. He was like, man, like we've been talking about we're gonna do something. We need to just do it.
Doug Parker was a friend that you guys grew up with in Delray?
We grew up in Delray. So I'm going to name a few. It's Doug Parker, John Lewis, Jeff Blanchard, Jamal Murray. He's now the head coach of Atlanta High School. Myself, like Gregory Fashaw, Hector Kinder. It was a lot of guys, old football. No, we were like 26, 27, 28 at the time. But football players that went off, tried to go to college, came back. And a lot of stuff, like we having this conversation now, we would have under shade trees or when we chilling, but never acting on it until one day Doug, like, man, like we're gonna start training these kids. We're gonna start making sure they're on point when it comes to their academics, how they carry themselves, they can be better recruited, so we can get more of them out of here.
What made you guys want to do that?
Our background, like that was our experience. We got lucky. We were able. Football got us out of here. All of the guys who I named went and earned scholarships and played football. We just happened to come back. So our thing was, we did what all these kids dream to do in Delray. We can help give them some guidance and mold them and prepare them for a lot of the roadblocks that they might go through. So that's what Delray Beach started as, training and working on their character. All right, so man, it was a hit. I tell you, every Saturday between 100, 150, 200 kids playing flag football.
Wow.
But I learned so many lessons about business of nonprofits. Because our whole model was really every week, same thing. It's Saturday morning, we'll make a post, hey, we at Pine Grove from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, flag football games. We're going to have burger on the grills, fruits, Gatorade, water for free. If you want to help, please call Doug, call Dupree, call John, or drop off at this address. That was our fundraising plan. It was all goodwill of the community. They love seeing 5, 6 young black men doing this and all these kids
doing the work.
Yeah, but you always have those other people, the real professionals. Like, man, I see what you young men are doing. That looks great. But do you guys are you guys tax exempt? Can you guys get a grant? Do you write grants? I see the posts you make. Like, that's cool and all, but you don't have to ask for $100 or $200 every weekend. You can get a grant to cover the whole year. People start telling us have vision outside of what we saw.
So the reason I want to give me 2 seconds in that conversation and that topic, because we talk about the crab in a bucket mentality. We talk so much in our community. I'm talking about the black community. I want to be very clear. We talk so much about those things, and I'm a living testament I think that's the word.
Yeah, testimony. Yeah.
Testimony of people that actually stepped up for me, Black people that stepped up for me when I was down,
Yeah.
that fronted, that helped, that supported. And I just want you to talk a little bit about that, because I don't think people will even understand, or even, I don't know if they know or not, but how the community stepped up first for you.
Yeah.
You know, what does that look like? Speak a little bit about that, because I think everything's not about clout. Like, it's not like Black people don't support Black people. That mindset, that culture that we create, it's not that.
Yeah.
Because they actually do that. So you can speak on that a little bit, please?
Yeah, I can, man. And I'll say, like, those brothers, they're part of that village that support the Black man. We always wanted what's best for each other, but we had a common goal. We wanted what's best for the kids coming behind us. So our personalities we'll figure that personality stuff out if all us here for the same reason. We want to get these kids, we want to increase their odds of being successful. So that was good. So now us working together, having that North Star that we all moving, that encouraged and inspired other people who looking at us. Like, you see pre-dub, them, you see what they doing? But they got that thing swag. They got little kids out there. Them kids respectful. Them kids, you get what I'm saying? And, you know, we pooling our money together. Anytime we had to do a fundraiser, I remember, like, we did a celebrity basketball game. Probably cost $5,000-$6,000 to get the team, Court Kings down here from Atlanta, to come play our local celebrities. Bro, we don't have no grants, no budget, no backing.
Gotta figure it out, though.
Gotta figure it out. And we young, you know, and we just starting our families and stuff. So, like, I wasn't married at the time, just my fiance, Doug, he wasn't married, like, how we telling these people we try to start families with and have kids? We barely making money that.
You know, got the money to do.
We ain't got the money, but we want to go do all this. So it was some convincing, but we had people who believed, and we had people in the community who saw it. It's like, man, I'm glad y'all doing something. We need more of it. Anything we could do, let us know. So, yeah, I wouldn't be here without community support, but that doesn't mean it ain't no crab still trying to pull in that.
Yeah, I know. We most definitely know that the crab city is in full effect, but I just think we don't speak enough about. Like I said, I think the crab is just a regular thing. I think we know there's crab in a bucket, that mentality, but I think there's also, my personal experience, I know it's not everybody, that there's also, I think it's all about, once you really doing the work, they come and look for you.
That's right.
You know, they want to bring value. They want to bring you support. You know, they want to do all those things. But now, once you guys started doing the work, and then what I heard that you guys had people that came and wanted to give you information to start developing your nonprofit. What was that process like?
So that's kind of this, and this is when how I gave that little disclaimer before I started telling the story, because I never want to throw up under the bridge. We didn't know what we didn't know.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to be transparent about real conversation that we was having, and kind of what led to EJS. So, like, it's 6-7 of us, the main group who, like, host our meeting, you know, raise the money and everything. And, you know, after we started seeing success, we would always have that conversation, like, man, you know, bro, that's six weeks in a row we had over 150 kids, bro, this thing swinging. Like, we got to call police to have them help us manage traffic and all that. Like, bro, let's take advantage of this. You have a couple of us. Me, I remember, like, Hammer, and I think my boy Omar Jacobs. Could have been one or two more. I don't forget no names, but we were heavy. We were like, you know what? Okay, let's leverage this momentum now. Let's do like a academic Olympics, because we started this because we all know Delray, this South Florida, we got the talent, but these kids got to have other soft skills. They got to be. So let's do like let's trick them into doing a spelling bee, like, you know, XYZ, like an academic Olympics, like. Then, you know, all the other.
What do you call that? You did something when you started seeing those letters coming in from your homeboy, like
positive peer pressure. Right. So out of us 7, 3 of us are really on this. And the other 4 are like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. But the other 4 are not on it. So it's not a priority. So now next year come by, we done did 12 more football events, another celebrity basketball, but we still ain't do the academic Olympics. So now it's brought up again for them same 3. Like, hey man, we moving. We got to take this momentum. We really gonna do what we say we're gonna do? We got to start doing more stuff that's not all centered around football. Now the conversation getting a little more stern, and it's really from me. You get what I'm saying? And also, bro, why we ain't applying for like our 501c3? What's up the other day with the paperwork? Because people telling us we don't got to go make posts on Facebook every day to raise money. We can get a big grant. Maybe some of us can get paid for all the time we give. At the very least, don't have to put money out of our pocket to feed and do stuff, right? Like, I'm thinking business now. Like, okay, we did all the goods in our heart for a year and a half. Bro, I can't keep telling my old lady I need to borrow money to feed kids. You get what I'm saying?
Look a little crazy.
Let's talk business. everybody didn't move at the same pace. Some people still, now let's just do it how we always do it. And then when looking at the growth of the future, that's what kind of pushed me faster to EJS. And when I started EJS, it was completely distanced from anything athletic. I don't do football, basketball, anything. This is all about being involved in the community, learning how to volunteer, learning how to care about people outside yourself, learning the importance of academics, staying on track so you don't ever have to be so far behind that you don't have the freedom to do what you want when that opportunity presents itself.
Your story.
My story. You're going to have soft skills like resume writing, interview skills, learn how to work. You're going to be exposed to different careers, so you're not thinking about the same 3 or 4 stuff that everybody talks about. These are things that life had taught me that's important. You're going to be, one of my biggest things in life is the network and going off to college and meeting people. There's not a state, really a country that I go to or travel to that I don't know nobody there. And I contribute that to college and just being open and meeting. I want to give that to as many kids as possible. So
exposure got me here.
That's what EJS is all about, bro. So the sports is there. I left that behind and I came full speed with trying to create all this stuff to put tools in these toolbox. So what I told you, I promise you have value. I mean that with every kid that walked through my door. And they parents know I believe that. Like, I see you for what I think you could be, not for where you are now or the knucklehead the teacher called you or your mom come here and say you don't listen. That's cool. But I see this stuff you got there, boy. If you do this, you could be that. Young lady, if you do this or carry yourself like that, you could be that. That's my job because you got value. That's what I bring, you know. And
how long you been doing EJS for?
Started September 19th, 2014. So this is going to be our 10th year.
Wow.
This 2024. This is the 10th year. Yeah.
Wow. I can't wait for the celebration.
Man, it's going to be big.
When you said what was the year? August or October?
So when I got my letter in the mail, the date is September 19th, 2014 is when I became official 501c3 tax deductible.
That's the biggest party this year.
Yeah.
I can't wait to celebrate with you. And then building that, what is the paperwork like? What does the work look like on building a nonprofit, a 501c3?
Yeah. And like this is the,
because it's different now also.
Yeah. And I say this has been fun, but when I come here and I always try to ensure that somebody watching is gonna
get some value
and leave a little better. So I want to say this probably isn't conventional. It's not conventional, the route I took. But if you do some of the same things I do, the things I'm going to share can't be debated. It's no theory. If you do it, you're going to get the right outcome.
Most 9 times out of 10, a hustler.
There we go.
Like, we don't gotta.
There you go.
I don't matter if you corporate. It don't matter if you white, black. It don't matter.
Yeah.
A hustler gonna hustle.
That's right.
So it's just like, in 9 times out of 10, a hustler don't do conventional stuff.
That's right. That's right.
We figure it out the best way we know how.
No doubt.
You know, so it's not a thing that we have to truly worry about. It's just, you gotta do the work. You did the work. So what did the work look like for you?
So the work looked like me, and I started back with, how should I start? So before the work, get into it and really decide I'm gonna go full speed with this nonprofit or trying to build it, I remember doing homework. Okay, who funds nonprofit? What other small nonprofits or grassroots or efforts like this? So doing that homework, seeing what's around, who funded. And it's crazy. I look at that list now, a lot of those big names and stuff I thought was that far away. I do business with, I sit on their boards, and we partners now.
I just want to give you this tip, because I'm, me being in business and me understand marketing while you talk, I really would love for you to create a 10-step manual of starting a nonprofit organization.
That's valuable. Because that book, that works. Yeah.
Because now you're able to bless people with it, and we'll be able to service more people.
I don't have to sit down and take every appointment meeting. I can just...
Yeah. So let's go.
We got to talk. I want you, seriously, off record, I don't know how we do it. Maybe if it's quarterly lunch or something, someone in your mind like that.
Not every week
in my
don't
life.
Limit it for just every quarter, man. I like to eat. So
I hear you, bro.
You could treat the first one, so we could do it next week.
That's right.
Keep going.
that invoice instead of adding up.
Yeah.
But I do want to do that. But advice I give people and the things I take is documentation. That's financial and that's service in the nonprofit world. So it doesn't matter if your first year, all you were able to do was spend a couple meals, buy a couple shirts, buy a couple posters. You spent $17,000 $100. Just document it. So that's
So are they setting up an LLC or like what's the
okay? We'll go back. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
go a
okay.
little because I a lot of people have that.
Right.
So the goal for me with this show, I always want to say this a lot more in this, in this platform is to turn. You always gonna hustle.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter what you do, you must hustle. But my goal is to take the hustler, and develop it into a business,
Okay.
but a scalable and sustainable business.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the person that's watching this show that is looking for some information,
Right.
which I also want your information. They could when they watch your show, they could follow you and learn
Right.
more about you or connect you directly. That, hey, I want to learn about this
Yes,
business.
yes.
And what does that look like for me to turn this into a
Okay.
business? So I don't know if it's an LLC that you do or
No, it's not an LLC. So you'll be it won't be a LLC. It'll be Incorporation, Inc.
Okay.
If it's a nonprofit, because nonprofits is never owned by a single person. It's an entity that's owned by a community. You get what I'm saying? So you, like me, I found it. I'm the president. I'm the executive director, but I got to go out and recruit a board of directors that ultimately become my boss and have, for the most part, same amount of power as me as direction of the. That's the difference between, if you're an LLC, it could just be your business, you running whatever. A nonprofit, you could be a non-for-profit, which I was, just a non-for-profit, and have a business and operate and do good things. But to become 501c3 tax deductible together is what real nonprofits are. That way, if someone wants to donate a gift to you, they get a tax deductible donations. Are you eligible to write for federal, state, city grants, period? You could be a nonprofit, don't have that status. People can donate to you, but they can't get credit for it. You can't write for a grant. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's important to know. So filing paperwork to become a nonprofit, Inc. is just like filing a business to become LLC. That's not that difficult. And I don't think getting the 501c3 status is difficult neither if you talk to the right person. I was lucky. I was blessed. The person who helped me get mine was a certified public accountant, CPA. That's what they do in their sleep. So I didn't have to send an application, get feedback that I did this wrong, because the first time they did it, this is what they do all the time, it went right through. You get what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is important to get the right person.
Yes.
Hire the right person to get you to the right place. That's super important.
And I told you we're going to come back to it, so let's jump there too. And that was one of my tools I want to give is I knew when I was leaving, like hustling the streets, I was building my reputation in this nonprofit sector in Palm Beach County, that I had a philanthropist spirit, but I'm a street dude and I'm dead broke. So how we gonna get there? How we gonna fill that gap? So I knew that and I didn't know those people's name, how they look, their background, but I knew eventually I was gonna have people around me that did have resources, that was a little smarter, that did have other lived experiences, to believe in me, work with me. You get what I'm saying? So I went in knowing that I'm gonna need that I ain't got it all. So that's why it's so important to.
So what you're talking about also, I want to make sure I let people know. So normally on this show, we ask people, what are your 3 tools that you utilize? In the, what are 3 tools in your toolbox that actually help you get to another capacity? Yeah. And the first one you said was relationships. Which I think that is the secret.
Yeah.
That's the one. I truly believe it because I live by it.
But I'll skip that to 2. I'm going to make that 2 because the first thing is a vision, and it's writing it down, because having those people in your life, if you don't have a clear vision, if you don't know what you putting out to the universe for what they can help you with, what's the point of having those people? So first is you being rooted in your why. What are you aiming after?
Purposeful living.
What did you want to accomplish? Thinking it is good. That's powerful. But what will increase your odds, I think, by 70 to 80% is simply just writing that down. It makes a whole difference when you can write it and go back to it and look. You mean it when you write it down. We have a lot of thoughts every day. You can see something, get inspired, and have amazing thoughts. But you ain't serious about it unless you write it down and make plans and how you're going to do it. That's the number one key.
I want to add to that a little bit because I think while you're speaking it, I want to add my experience to it. Also, when you write down a vision, be open to add, be open and okay to adjust. Because a lot of times, even myself, before I was so locked into my vision that when change happened, I was like, oh, I don't want no change.
Yeah.
But when I changed my wording from change to adjustment, I was like, oh, I can move this around a little bit. I could change it. I could adjust this. So now I'm back into wherever my vision is. So number one for you is vision. Number two is relationship. What's your third tool that you think that's in your toolbox that helped you doing what you're doing?
The third big one, it ties into both of those. And I got this advice in 2016. I was at a conference in Canada.
Not the little boy from Sneed in Delray.
Oh, yeah.
Conference in Canada.
And I was a speaker.
Talking
Room full
good.
of people. Yeah. But what I did was, there's a guy named Roger Martin. He used to work for the Bill Gates Foundation. He was the keynote. I emailed him, asked him for 5 minutes of his time in between speeches or in between panels, and he gave me that. So he granted that. And in that 5 minutes, I was telling him what I was trying to do. I want to start, I had the organization, but it's just not up and running. And he gave me advice. He said, from the short conversation I'm talking with you to you got me sold. I want to support you. This is what you got to keep doing. Always call your shot. And he gave an analogy he gave a story kind of comparing like Babe Ruth. This was his story to me. He was like, think about, people still talk about Babe Ruth today. You know Babe Ruth. You're a young guy. He was like, think about all the people since him. He talked about like Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds. At the time, like Albert Pujols was on it. He wouldn't name a name. These guys hit way further than Babe Ruth. They set records, way more home runs and all that. But people still talk about somebody from 60 or 70 years ago. Why? Because he was the first one. He called the shot. People are drawn to people who can predict, have a clear vision, call their shot, but back it up. If you can be one of those people, you're going to have a bright future in this. And he told me that. And that's what I try to tell other people, because it ties back to those first two tools I gave you. And I still do that. Like, it doesn't stop. That's in my calling shots, how I raise money, how I fund now, my key is site visits. Once I get you to be interested in, then come in and learn and see how we do, where the kids work. And I tell you, these are the challenges we have, but this is what we're going to be doing next. I'm still every year, every time I meet, calling my shot. And once you show them, bro, it's no better sell than everybody wants to be around something that's good, positive, and winning. Nobody would say, if I pitch that to you, good, positive, impactful, legacy, and winning. When you want, what it is? When you want to be a part of it?
Oh, I'm about to talk to you about something before we get off this conversation,
right?
Because I'm inspired.
Yeah, man, that's it, bro. And that's been and that's why this guy right now, I still haven't changed much. I talk a lot, I articulate a lot better now. I enunciate, I do all those things, but I wear my same fit. I dress a little, I tuck, a little tweak things to be professional. But I still got my tip. I'm still Dupree, but I can walk in any room and people trust me because over time, consistency, word of mouth, reputation is all that matters.
Super authentic.
That's it. And you can go, I can start over tomorrow in another state. It probably won't happen overnight, but it's going to catch up because people are going to be looking at me for 2 or 3 months or years. Then they'll start calling people in Florida, and Florida going to vouch. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Just stay consistent. When you don't got to get in the character when you ain't never acting.
Same thing like the streets.
Same thing like the streets.
I tell people all the time, I think I respect somebody that's built from the streets.
Yeah.
I respect, I think for me, I'm talking about just business or life. I know if you've been through some things and you show up the way you're doing, it's different. Mm-hmm. It's not easy, man. Right. But the same principles carry on, in all capacity, just a principle-driven man. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, I have another question I would like to add. What do you believe success? What is success to you?
Okay, success to me is first of all, it's not a destination. It's not a point, a time, and it's not permanent. It's definitely the journey. It's a process. So I feel probably as successful in this moment as I ever in my life. So things like I have a job. Like my passion is my job and my career. So I can earn an income to take care of my family while also serving, leaving a legacy, making an impact, helping others, right? and I'm able to do this in my community. Like,
That's powerful.
you get what I'm saying? Like, I live on 10th. My building, current in the last 6 years, is right on 7th. The one we just got now is on 8th. Like, listen to what I'm saying. Like, the words, my building, the teen center, in my community.
Good, man.
I'm saying these words right now, and they're true. I'm not dreaming anymore. So the success right now, that doesn't mean I'm happy I reached all my goals. I don't have house I want. I don't have enough money saved. I don't have college fund for my daughter. I have goals, things I'm trying to get to, but I'm successful right now. Don't get it twisted.
Beautiful.
You get what I'm saying? So success looks different for different people, but overall, success is in the journey, not the destination.
Brother, you talking good. You know one thing you said that was so, you talking good, man. I love that shit, man. You know, when somebody, you kicking your shit, man.
Man, appreciate that, bro.
And what I mean by that, you just said you had this vision, you put in the work, you were consistent, you decided you wanted to bring value, people supported that.
Mm-hmm.
The EJS from representing your father, representing Jackson, man, you talking good, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that shit. You talking good.
100%.
You show so much consistency and passion and purpose and legacy. Like, your daughter understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Like man, you talking good. I could go on for days with what you just said. My building, my home, I live on 10th, the building's in 7th, and we're in 8th. This is where you grew up in.
Right.
This is your family. This is your community.
Right.
Like, you're doing what most people hope to do.
Right.
But you're actually doing it.
Right.
And now that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so important for Hustler's testimony, man, where it's like it's inspiring me to do a lot. That's what and I'm gonna talk to you in front of the camera about what I want to do too, because I want to keep it 100 like that.
Real.
Because once you create that manual, that people could get more information and go back and do what you did and be able to give value like that, there'll be more EJS. There'll be more people serving. Because now it's like you're on 8th, somebody else on 1st, somebody else on this.
Yeah.
Now you guys locked in, the whole, but I think it goes back, like you beat what you beat. Now you could get a game on, like, I don't know, I'm not going for days for this shit, man. Sorry. Excuse me.
You just gave me a gym, bro. You just gave me a gym. And this conversation gave me a gym. When I think about all this conversation, you remember I told you earlier, like, I grew up my whole life being in the house that, like, my friends and stuff couldn't go to. It ain't safe there. You never know. They might get busted in again, might be raided, drug, criminal, such and such builder, whatever. Now, like, I'm the guy in the community about to have a center with my dad's name on it. That's the one going to be one of the safest places in the city. Now this is what everybody in the city should want to go.
Goosebump shit.
That's
shit.
What you change. You get what I'm saying?
It's in real time, though.
In real time.
This is not I'm all about inspiring. I'm all about people that are living in that hope. When you made that hope into faith and you start actually doing the work and it all connects, you talking good, man. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I think you're about to free more.
Oh, yeah.
The more people you get that game to, man, you about to free more.
Yeah.
And it's so authentic. Like, brother, you transparent. And you tell people I'm from this mud. And now I did this, and this, and here's the result. We don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
So the same way, the guy that gave you that whistle, you could do the same thing for a whole bunch of generations. And now you also a businessman. Like, you build a business. Right. That's the thing I always try to give the church or nonprofit organization. That doesn't mean you're not running a business still. You're still running a business. You still should have processes and systems, marketing, branding. You're branded right now. You got your hat, you got your shirt. You're still creating visibility for your company. And a lot of people don't understand that when you build that manual, I help out with the visibility part, man. That's so important, man. Yeah. But let me go into another question I wanted to ask. For the team in the back started texting me crazy. Okay.
Y'all let us cook, man.
Yeah, they start threatening
we need
me
this.
Stuff,
we need this. Let us cook.
So I added this. They don't even know I had this question yesterday. They probably thought about it when I said it. So what's something you didn't pay enough attention to that you had to learn the hard way from?
Great question.
That's about 5 great questions. I just want to let everybody know that's what I do, Yeah. Just try to feel good.
I'm processing, but read it to me one more time.
Please, no problem. So basically what I'm asking you is something that you just basically didn't pay enough attention to that end up being one of the hardest things you've learned in that process. Like for me, what I've heard someone say that they wish they would have paid attention to their loved ones a little bit more, their father, their uncle, their cousin, because that they died.
Yeah.
I enough time. There's no time now. Or like I wish I would have spent more time with other people or just learning. Like I wish I would have read more books early because I would have got more information earlier.
Okay.
And that's one of the hardest things because even just, I'm giving you my answer to the question. Like
I help and inspire me now.
Yeah. That's why I want to give you more clarity on it. Like I wish I would have spent more time learning about like how does a man have conversation? How does a man listen? How does a man give value? How does a man really have this soft spot? I didn't know what that was. I didn't know I shouldn't be so black and white when through conversation. Like when you talk about your father, like I know that lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's bang, bang, bang because I was trained that way.
Yeah.
But I learned I give more value now by being able to accept and understand, because it was hard for me. I messed up a lot of relationships because I don't play with you. But I wish I had the wisdom and the information that I need. Like, empathy.
Yeah.
Grace.
Yeah.
So what is that something that you wish you had more information on?
Hopefully I can add a little more, but everything you said was just saying to me made me realize really what I tell myself. And I always, a lot of times tell myself, I wish I would have trusted and believed myself a lot earlier. That's the number one thing. Like a lot of the convictions and things I believe, how I'm talking to you with confidence now, I always thought it, I kind of felt it popped in my head, or I just had the confidence to be sure or speak with so much authority with it. I was always like, no, I think I'm great. I think I could be one of the people to make a difference. Like my name is Emanuel. And at moments when I was by myself growing up, I used to be like, well, and it stands for Emanuel, is being interpreted means God is with us. And I remember being young, God is in me. God is in you. And I remember figuring out about people, but I used to be timid to say it because older people, oh, you're not God. We praise God. You can get in trouble for saying stuff like that. But my intentions wasn't to disrespect God. I just feel like if we treat each other like God is really in us, that's the secret of life. Like not just praising someone on the wall. So that's one of the examples are just saying like, okay, yeah, I'm living in a trap now, or but I don't have to go to prison. I'm gonna be of the world. I'm gonna travel. I tell my close friends this. I'm saying on the podcast called We Keep It Real, but I was like, I'm going to have kids all over the world. I'm not going to just be limited to the United States or Florida.
Yeah,
this how you talk. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I'm just going to stay out of that one. But yeah, I like what you're saying.
I already explained this to my wife. She know this story. She laughs, so that's past. But like, these are all things I dreamed of and thought about, but I wasn't convinced until I was like 30 years old that I really can do anything. That is no limits. So that's what I would say. Like,
believing in yourself.
Believe early. Like that's that whisper in your ear that you can, you will. That's the truth. And every motivational person or speaker you hear, you will hear this a lot, that your mind is the most powerful tool or resource you have. Because if you think it, you dream it and believe it, it can and most likely it will happen. And so that's why I would just like, don't doubt yourself. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way, you're right. That's not just slang or that's facts.
Do you think it's possible to achieve balance with business and personal?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I do.
How and why?
So, boy, I'm gonna keep saying it, but this is a great one. For me, especially like the profession I went in, like nonprofit, it's challenging and it's easier. And let me say why. Because you don't want to walk into a boardroom with someone who potentially invest in you or give you $10,000 or $50,000, $100,000 to support your cause and be like, oh yeah, I used to sell drugs. I got caught with guns before. I had shootouts. I did this. My mama did this. People couldn't come to my house. You don't walk into a room and open like that. Ain't gonna be nobody that'll write you a check when you leave. Right. But over time, never leaving those parts out, staying consistent. Those people know I'm that type of person before I get to them, but they appreciate the struggle and what I had to overcome to get here. So for me, this was a perfect blend because I don't have to shy away from all the challenges, because a lot of the people who give it to me, They're giving me because they hate to know that people are going through those challenges. But I'm one who did, and this is how it looked for me. And this is how I overcame. And this is how I want to help other people overcome.
Results could be different.
Results can be different. But that doesn't mean I didn't struggle at all. Like when I first started this, I was 30 to 30, from 30 to 35, man, down in like Miami, Club Live, bro, I didn't have my own section and stuff like that. It was just like, you can be young, party, have a life, but I had to be mindful of what I was building here. I didn't want people that wanted to invest in me, believe in this vision, leaving a nonprofit, to think I was just some. So it's like, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So I would just, if I go out, that's not something I put on my IG. That's me personally to have a good time. I ain't got to show on with the pretty girls or bottles and stuff. You get what I'm saying? Like, you learn how to move differently. And I have to, because especially as we grow at the level I'm at, I'm not just representing myself. I'm representing a movement, organization. I have staff, I have parents, I have board members with long, extensive resumes and background themselves that attach themselves to me. So how I carry myself is very important. So that's the balance for me. Not that like I'm ashamed of my past or my.
You representing more than you.
I'm representing more than me. So it kind of
You want that for your leader anyway.
Yeah,
from
right.
Your leader.
Right.
That's important.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about even with family, because I think for me, with nonprofit work, you're giving so much. You're pouring in so much to the people.
Yeah.
How was that balance at home? Like, how does all that work?
Yeah. So I think that's a balance I'm gonna always be juggling for my whole life and career, because I'm someone who, again, trying to do philanthropic work, but I'm from the underserved community. Mm-hmm. So I need the help I'm trying to give. My cousins, my aunts, my sister, my nieces need the help that I try to give. It's just about creating healthy boundaries and borders. Like, I say like my wife, her cousin, 4 or 5 kids, baby daddy maybe not being around, a lot of them stuff. They're struggling, they need help. She knows she can't call me to like skip a line, like oh, I see you got this list, you doing this stuff, but the tone to change, like, hey, I see you guys doing that, or I saw you get it for some families, such and such need help. Do you think if I got resources or connection to them, I want to help my family, right? But the priority is this is a job for me. Like, and I learned this lesson working. I used to work for another agency, and I remember one morning going to work, bro. Like, I couldn't wait till this was like a Wednesday. We got paid Friday. I'm already thinking about the bills I got. I probably got about $20 in my account, like broke and everything. But I had a check to look forward to. But I remember that day, it was just because of a grant. We were getting 4 or 5 families that I'm looking at, I've been working with, providing services, knowing they're struggling. They just didn't have the capacity to manage a lot of money. But because of a grant, we had to get them 4 families $7,000 cash. And imagine that feeling, like, here, I'm struggling, I'm broke, but I'm working with this family who I've been working with, and I'm going to give them a check. They looking at me like, oh, thank you, Mr. Dupree, thank you. I ain't going to say the name of the nonprofit, and it's like, I don't got it. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I get what you're saying.
The dynamic is, I want to help everybody. And let's talk about numbers. Since 2014 until now, you look at my QuickBooks and everything, probably a little bit more, but what's went through and what's been calculated, I'm at over $3 million in revenue. Again, bro, when I say this shit like this out loud to you, I get chills, because think me, I don't got $3 million. I don't got a nice car, nice home, but my business, our staff, we have currently right now operating budget of $650,000. We never not met our budget.
It's powerful.
You get
powerful. Like, talk that shit, man.
You feel what I'm saying, bro? Like, we doing it, and
you serving, and you doing the work,
and we're serving, and everything's documented. All our 990s are filled out. Our audits, you come in and ask a receipt from 2019, I'm gonna find it for you. I don't play about that. That was one of the things I wrote in that notebook when I was starting out. I'm gonna track every dime. I know how people are gonna perceive or think about me coming from the streets or how I look. Nobody will never be able to question my integrity in our finances ever. And I'm still staying true to that. And that's
standing on business.
I'm still standing on that business. Yeah.
Powerful, man. Wow. I needed it. Great job, my brother. What's the most, entrepreneurs, leaders, people normally have some type of routine.
Yeah.
Their daily, their weekly, their monthly routine. What's something that what's a critical routine That's part of your life right now.
Yeah, so it switches up, but just having a routine is critical. So let's start there. Something, whatever it is. So like right now for me, it's on the day-to-day regular school, I prioritize getting my girls ready for school and helping. Like that's with my wife, like starting my days and that being dropping my 13-year-old off to the bus stop. And, you know, my wife takes my younger one to the school, but like being a part of that, then I will have like a coffee, network, mingle with people, you know, most days of the week. Then I try to go in the office a little early before staff get there and work. That's like a perfect morning. If I'm in the office at 8 o'clock, we usually don't open up until 9. But if I'm able to be in there and settle by 8:30, that's a good start, a good routine for my day, you know. So it varies, it changes. You know, 3 years ago, it was me waking up. I did 6 months consistently, brother, waking up at 5 o'clock and by 5:55 being done with a 3-mile walk / jog. At the time, that was my routine. It helped me you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I get it.
But just having routines, being consistent is important because this, especially when you're a leader and you get pulled so many different directions, a growing leader, so I'm not where I need to be. Yes, there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of commitment, being a resource. You have to have structure. You have to be feet to the ground to some type of foundation in order to just balance it all and withstand it all.
Yeah, I want to, once again, they're in the back. I'm shifting everything right now. And the reason I want to, because I know for sure you're bringing value. I want to find a way to bring value to what you're doing in your organization. So I want to find a way that we could create some type of partnership, some type of relationship based on media.
Okay.
So Podcast Space Plus is a company that we own. You know, there's another company that I own that builds this. We produce this Podcast Space Plus. And one of the things I stand on Podcast Space Plus, we give a voice to the voiceless. And I always wonder why organizations don't have a podcast. But for me, I want to kind of not even just about you. Sorry, Mr. EJS. Yeah. I want to do it about the students.
Yeah, I hear you.
I would like these kids that don't really get the voice, that don't got an opportunity. I would love for them to start a podcast where they're able to tell their story. They're able to have conversation on different topics that you don't hear.
That's all right.
You don't hear them giving their input, their opinion on all different type of topics. The same way you'll hear certain people have conversation and want to talk about different topics or whatever. I want to hear that little kid from 7th Street. I want to hear his topic. Like, because you hear a lot of people tell you what's going on and that little black boy from the hood, but you ain't never heard him tell you.
Right. I'm with you.
Like, I would love to get involved. I want to create some type of partnership where we develop this show where we could actually give the voiceless a voice.
I'm with you, and I'm gonna throw something else with you. How about it be, because all of it is important. That's probably the most important. But then some days it's gonna be people who want to get inspired. They're gonna want to hear for like maybe a funder or why do you get an EJS? So maybe,
I was gonna tell you the biggest game. So so we're gonna have a meeting right now, like I would have with a client. It's important for you to start your own media network. So the key thing about creating your own media platform is important to gain visibility. Visibility is everything for everything you want to do. Because there's donors. So you have one show under your network, EJS Network, that is a show based on youth having their own conversation. Where youth could have their own conversation where you could share that with other youth networking. Then it's important for you to have another show based on your EJS where you talk to donors. Another show where you talk to partners. You could create 4 or 5 shows under your network.
Gotcha.
You control your content. You control your story. You control the narrative. The information that I have is I realized I could be Tyler Perry. I realized I could own BET. I could have BET. The new way of technology now with YouTube, with all these other platforms, there's no difference between me and CNN.
Right.
I could have my own sports center.
That's right.
But people don't understand that they're able to develop their own multimedia network company. So it's not that you only could do one show, you could have multiple shows.
Right.
It's just you need the resources and the tools to actually do it.
Yeah, right.
But I have the resources and the tools.
Gotcha.
I think that's what a lot of us don't do. Like, we don't bring each other value, commit, lock in, and really find a way to get it done. Because yes, there's cost affiliate. Yes, there's a process to it.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a skill set affiliate. There's all these things affiliates with, but it could be done. The same way you took EJS from 2014 to you about to be in your 10th year, September 19th. It's the same thing. Like, you gotta look at it. I've been in this mud. I've been creating. I've been in this business of marketing. And now my specialty, my skill set is marketing and multimedia. So now my responsibility is to give the game out. Because once you know, at times what happened is organizations send out press release for the press to come write about them. Now you can write your own story. Now you can tell your own story and email it to all the people that you need to.
Yeah.
It's a whole different level. Because I remember when I was trying to do, with my ex-wife, trying to put together nonprofit organization and do the work and all the work that we were doing, super passionate about it. We were doing the work. And we were trying to see if press could come write about us. In my mind, see, I'm the type of dude, like, you could get me one time, but I'm coming for your head. I'm gonna let you believe it. I remember when they weren't coming to get us. I was like, oh, I'm gonna create my own. I'll have my own one day. Now we have 7 shows on our own platform. So now it's like, I'm giving game for people that's in this, that have their own story. Yo, you control your own narrative. You can write your own story. You can literally interview the donors, let them tell their story and why they support you. Take that same thing and email it to other people, potential donors, email it to other people, like, to inspire them. Control your story, control your narrative. And you're able to do that with video podcasting. A lot of people don't know this information. And for me, my responsibility, like, I created this, and it's just not me, because my team is super important for this. Like, without them, none of this is possible, because, I'm the one that, they let me be a whole weirdo out here, but they create stability, they create structure, but within what we're building in our unit, we know the culture in this company is to give a voice to the voiceless. There's a lot of people that want to talk their talk or give their point of view from our show male perspective, where guys don't really get, there's a bunch of things that we're creating, but I'm giving you the game on, man, don't wait for the press to write about you.
Right, get out there.
Put your own story together.
That was a goal of mine 2 years ago. I said I wanted to start at least monthly, have, at the time it was a blog, to write, just update anybody who come to our website to hear from me directly.
There's so many things you could do with that. So now you're able to do that. And you're also able to send out a newsletter. But now you're adding a video podcast.
I was going to say, this can replace it. We could do the video podcast together. We could take, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just take messages from the podcast itself and turn it into a
So
blog.
we're going to break it down. You're gonna keep the blog. You're going to keep your newsletter. You're going to add your video podcast into those things. Because the blog and the newsletter are where it's hubbed at.
That's right.
Your website is where it's hubbed at. The content is what you put in there to share the word.
Yeah.
They're not two different things. They go with each other.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people, like, you're thinking right now, well, I'm going to replace this with this, replace this with this. No, it's needed.
Yeah.
Your email blasting system, your newsletter is a tool that you use to communicate with. The video podcast is a tool that you use for visibility. So once you put the visibility out there, so people that can't, so I know with nonprofits, you guys got to give your annual reports.
Yeah.
You're now able to do a whole video annual report after every year. Ain't nobody thinking about that stuff.
Send that out. And people, they're going to
You can see it. You don't got to just write the numbers down.
Right.
You can see it.
Yeah.
But a lot of organizations are not using the power of marketing. So that's why I say you always got to double down back on the business side. So for me, man, I don't want to make this into this, but it's important for me to keep it on record to really talk about, because I really want to find out how, and once again, because I know that thing that you got, that a lot of hustlers, you hustle first. So we don't know how we're going to get it done.
Right. But
one thing I know, we're going to get it done.
That's right.
So I'm all in, my brother. I mean, if there's anything else you want to lead the people, that's the thing I'm asking you. Is there anything that you want to lead the people with that I didn't get a chance to ask you that you want to share? Please do.
Yeah, man, so much, bro. But I just really say that if they listen to your platform, then they trust you. They already know. Like you going out, you doing your due diligence, you making sure you bringing people that will add value to them. And if just y'all sit here listening and y'all been here this long, you hearing me now. A lot of y'all probably don't know me, but everything I'm telling you, you know, I stand on. I mean it. I can't pretend. Sometimes it's to my detriment that I can't cap for people to fit in a different situation. I'm always gonna be real, always gonna stand on what I'm standing on. So I just want to leave like moments like this is I'll be lying if I say I never thought about it. And I'll ask myself, if you ever in a position, if you do make it, if you are successful, what would you want to give to people, what you want to tell people? You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I want, if you listen to this, know that everything that I said, I was intentional about trying to give you the realest version of it, and that the tool, especially the one about writing things down, the power of the mind, I think the best way to say this is like things, I always grew up thinking I needed to find the secret formula, and I always thought it would be so complex. But you'll be so surprised and so shocked if someone just told you the secret formula is 2 + 2 = 4. You'll be so shocked and your jaw drop, and you'll probably be hesitant to act on it because you think it's too good to be true. But I'm here to tell you it's not. Those old sayings that people gave you, those mantras, those Bible verses, those scriptures, everything that keeps showing up, take it in, believe it. That's what I want to give people, man. And it's no secret to this thing called life. It's just, the secret is no shortcuts. The secret is if someone shows you who they are, believe them. The secret is if your life has showed you, or you been convicted that something is right, it doesn't matter how popular the other thing is, you got to go with what you believe. That's what I would leave people with, man. Be you, because like it's just too many, especially nowadays, it's too many people trying to fit the same mold, be the same type of popular, buy the same type of cars, have the same type of number of followers on social media, where being unique, being real, being genuine is so rare, and we need more people like that. So if you're gonna be anything this day and age, try to be that type of person, and that's one thing I always try to be. So I'll leave with that.
I appreciate your authenticity. You got the juice.
Appreciate that,
Bye.
man. Thank you for the time. Hey.
Thank you, man.
It's a hustler's testimony.
Oh, God.